My name is John, I pay a lot of attention to politics.
And I'm Susan, Ron Paul 2012.
What do you think of our current president?
He's spending us into oblivion.
I bet that if you have any evidence that causes you to blame Obama for the Republican deficit, it's this fake graphic from the Heritage Foundation. Am I right? Or are you basing your knowledge of the deficit simply on what Republicans have been saying for the past few years?
The deficit is a moot point to me because it's Democrats who proposed all these plans of bailing out and spending and increasing the size of government and creating more regulations.
So you blame the Democrats and Obama for Bush's bank bailouts? And the top bill Bush signed? What do you mean more regulations? Corporations are sitting on record amounts of money. It's workers' pay that has stagnated over the last 30 years.
Obama has began the conversation of blaming the Republicans because they want to limit the size of government and have a real conversation about fiscal responsibility.
Because it's reality, and somebody has to fight back against the conservative lies. But liberal mainstream media doesn't do it.
When you overspend, you devalue the dollar.
You say you don't care about the deficit, but here you are talking about spending. 90% of the deficit was in place before Obama took office.
Well, Obama promised to end the war in Iraq within 16 months and that didn't happen.
PolitiFact.com says, promise kept. May want to read their reasoning. Same thing with Afghanistan, both campaign promises. They say he did what he said he would do.
Then he started the unconstitutional bombing in Libya and Yemen.
Congress approved the no-fly zone. Are you mad that we had a war where no Americans died and only cost us a minuscule amount compared to Iraq's cost? It also keeps alive the revolts in Muslim countries, and I like it when people are freed from their dictators.
Also, he called Bush unpatriotic for adding $4 trillion to the deficit. He did the same thing.
Obama did not add $4 trillion to the deficit. He's under $1 trillion based on his policies alone for the next 10 years.
So, not only does Obama support big government, he also supports the wars overseas.
Government has shrunk by 500,000 jobs under Obama, exception Texas. Many new government jobs there, while the private sector has gained more than 2 million since April 2009, and he's ending the wars.
You can blame the Republicans all you want.
They are to blame. Like when Ron Paul whines about the deficit. I laugh. The biggest element of the deficit is the Bush tax cuts he voted for. And Ron Paul's economics, gold standard for one, are terrible ideas. Google, why is the gold standard a bad idea? There's lots of essays about it.
The debt was $10 trillion before Obama took office. It's now $14 trillion. Your 90% is incorrect. And as I stated earlier, that was under a Democrat Congress. And Obama voted in favor of TARP.
Again, your problem is you don't know how the deficit works, and you are blaming Obama for policies prior to his election. The only thing Obama's done which has added to the deficit and debt is the stimulus. Health reform was paid for.
And your argument is that tax cuts are bad? You realize when taxes are increased, that is a burden on the economy, right? Corporations are forced to fire employees and send jobs overseas, which only widens the pay gap between rich and poor.
Tax cuts for the rich are bad. It's a very inefficient way to spend money, and more than 50 of the Bush tax cuts went to the top few. Taxes on the middle class, or lower class, yes, that will be a burden on the economy. Not true of the rich.
I just hope you are prepared for the economic collapse. It's coming. The depression keeps getting delayed because of spending and printing of the money. The dollar is going to collapse. And only a complete shift in the role of government can avoid it. God bless.
You're wrong about almost everything you said, factually, and you now go into fortune-telling gypsy mode. See ya.